ARK Invest have quickly established themselves as the creme de la creme investment manager amongst retail investors. Founded in 2014 by ex-Allianz Bernstein CIO Cathie Wood, ARK Invest have amassed nearly $50 billion in net assets across their various investment products. In today's video, we're taking a look under the hood of ARK Invest and how it came to be one of the most prominent players in the ETF space. My name is Dan, but you can call me Malone, and let's get into the video. So who are ARK? ARK Invest are an investment management company based in New York. The first thing that you'll see when you head over to their website is their crystal clear investment strategy. We invest solely in disruptive innovation. ARK focus on investing in companies who are developing technologies and solutions that have the potential to change the world. The company are not afraid of saying that they're not your traditional investment manager, and they explicitly note on their website that they find passive investment strategies to be counterproductive. The rationale behind their thinking is that ARK believe that the risks associated with traditional business models is rising due to the rapid increase in disruptive innovation. From their perspective, the safe returns of passive index investing might not be safe for long if this rate of innovation continues. The idea being that the companies behind the innovation will outpace and eventually replace the current market leaders across various industries in the future. ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood describes this philosophy as follows: "We're all about finding the next big thing. Those hewing to the benchmarks which are backwards looking are not about the future. They are about what has worked. We're all about what is going to work." So how does ARK bring this vision to life? ARK offers like-minded investors the opportunity to partake in this investment philosophy through their range of exchange-traded funds, aka ETFs. These funds are segregated based on what companies the fund's investments are allocated to. The funds themselves offer investors the ability to invest in the likes of autonomous technology and robotics, next-generation internet, genomics, fintech, and space exploration. Because these funds are structured as ETFs, investors can purchase an interest in a large number of companies at one convenient price. This allows the investor to gain exposure to a much larger basket of stocks than they would have had they tried to go out and buy each stock contained within the fund individually. ARK ETFs also provide investors with a certain level of diversification, which is critically important when it comes to growth investing. The volatility associated with the stocks that ARK ETFs invest in can be quite high, so by buying an ETF rather than individual stocks, the investor is spreading their risk. I have a full video uploaded on the channel explaining everything you need to know when it comes to ETFs if you'd like to learn more about them. Let's take a look at ARK's biggest fund, the ARK Innovation ETF, in more detail. According to ARK, the Innovation ETF is built on the cornerstone investments that present the best risk to reward opportunities from ARK's innovation-based teams. Now, whenever I get a question about what ETF is the best ETF to invest in, I always tell people to look at the fact sheets. Investment managers like ARK are required to publish detailed fund documents that highlights information such as the charges associated with the fund and the investments that the fund currently holds. The best ETF for you to invest in is going to be the one that's most suitable to you as an individual, having considered factors such as your tolerance for risk. Taking a look at the fact sheet for the ARK Innovation ETF, we can see that ARK start the document by giving you 5 reasons why you might want to invest in this ETF: exposure to innovation, growth potential, diversification, research-based management, and a cost-effective investment. The fund has $22.28 billion of assets under management and currently charges 0.75% per annum in fees. ARK have also provided a nice visual representation of the growth of $10,000 in the Innovation ETF if it had been invested at inception back in 2014. And we can see that while the vast majority of the returns have been earned in the last year, the Innovation ETF has been outperforming the S&P 500 year over year since 2017. So in terms of what the Innovation ETF actually invests in, we can see that as of the 31st of March 2021, 11% of the fund's investments were held in Tesla and 6.5% of the fund's investments were held in Square. In fact, 4 out of 6 of ARK's actively managed ETFs had either Tesla or Square or both in the top 2 holdings of the funds. This is something to be cautious about when it comes to ARK funds. Yes, the funds themselves do invest in a relatively large basket of securities. But there is certainly a concentration risk when it comes to holdings within the funds, as well as overlap between the fund's investments. The performance of the funds is going to be impacted to a material degree by the performance of the likes of Tesla stock. Now, if there's one thing that ARK are very good at, it's transparency. There is no secrets when it comes to these funds. The updated holdings of the funds themselves are published every single day, meaning that you can actually track what the ARK portfolio managers are buying and selling on a daily basis, which is pretty cool. For example, here's the updated portfolio holdings of the Innovation ETF for the 22nd of April. To find these reports, simply download the fund holdings PDF for whichever fund you're looking at on the ARK website. I also want to mention that ARK's website is amazingly designed. It's very intuitive and easy to navigate, which is fantastic, especially for stock market newcomers who might be intimidated by this level of financial information. Say what you want about ARK, but I really do think that they're setting the standard when it comes to how investment managers present information about their funds and generally how they interact with investors. I mean, ARK even have a dedicated YouTube channel where Cathie Wood regularly speaks about investing ideas and broader stock market talking points. I honestly respect this so much because it's initiatives like these that are going to pave the way in normalizing conversations around finance. And to even go back to the fact sheet for the Innovation ETF, there's breakdowns showing technology type, market cap weightings, sector breakdowns, and geographic breakdowns of investments. Again, all really good stuff. Overall, I think ARK are a breath of fresh air when it comes to how investment managers do business. I think they're popular with investors, first of all because of their returns over the past 5 years, but also because they bring that excitement factor to investing. ARK's investment strategies are sexy. There's no two ways about it. The idea of picking the market leaders of tomorrow and yielding massive investment returns is like something straight out of a movie. And I think the fact that ARK have surpassed some industry veterans in terms of assets under management really does fit the new cultural movement that we've seen happening online when it comes to investing over the course of the last year. There's just something about ARK that make them feel like they're the people's investment manager. However, those of you who have been around here for a while will know that I have made some comments about ARK in the past. In fact, just last weekend I used them as an example in my video. And the point that I try to get across primarily to stock market newcomers is that while yes, growth investing does have the potential to yield very significant returns, the practice of actually selecting the most successful companies in the future ultimately isn't possible. There's no doubt in my mind that ARK have selected some winning companies in their funds, but the issue is that there's no reliable way for the ARK investment managers to accurately allocate investments to these winning companies, meaning that while you might have some exposure to the winners, your exposure to the losers might be larger. That's not to say that you shouldn't invest in these ETFs, it just means that like with any investment, they should form part of a well-balanced portfolio that's tailored to your circumstances as an individual. I also think that ARK's opinion on passive investment strategies being counterproductive is exaggerated. I do agree that traditional business models are under threat from disruptive innovation, but that's always been the case historically. And while yes, the rate of innovation is arguably higher now than ever before, you have to remember that the well-established companies are the ones who have the most cash resources at their disposal. I also think that corporate management teams are a lot more attuned to the importance of continuous innovation than they were, say, a decade ago. Unfortunately, as is the case with many US domiciled funds, us Irish investors can't actually invest in ARK ETFs as of yet. There are some workarounds that you can use like CFDs and options contracts on different trading platforms, but direct investment currently isn't possible. This is because the ARK ETFs aren't compliant with the EU regulations on key information documents for packaged retail and insurance-based investment products, or PRIPs. The European Union has very high standards when it comes to investment products like mutual funds and ETFs. For example, the EU UCITS framework, which stands for Undertakings for Collective Investment in Transferable Securities, is effectively the EU safety stamp of approval on certain funds which comply with the regulations. Definitely a bit of a buzzkill, but hopefully it's only a matter of time before the global legislation around investment funds becomes a bit more consolidated. Until then, we'll likely see some ARK copycat funds emerging in the EU, and to be honest, there's more than likely already viable alternatives available. So I really do hope you enjoyed the video here today. As always, if you did enjoy the video, please do let me know in the comment section below. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.